My nephew told my 7-year-old son at a family barbecue, "Your dad's in jail. That's why he's never home." My son's dad, is a pilot. Gone 3 to 4 days a week for work. My son came to me terrified. "Daddy, are you going to jail?" I looked at my sister. "Control your kid or leave." She laughed. "He's just joking." I packed our stuff. Never came back. When my son visited my cockpit on Take Your Kid to Work Day and posted photos, my nephew said it so casually you'd think he was talking about the weather. We were standing by my parents' grill, smoke in the air, kids running through the sprinkler. My 7-year-old, Leo, was holding a paper plate with one hot dog, concentrating way too hard on not dropping it. My sister's kid, Aiden, walked right up to him and said, loud enough for the patio to hear, "Your dad's in jail. That's why he's never home." Leo froze. I watched his little fingers tighten around the plate. Ketchup slid off the edge and dropped onto his sneakers. He turned his head slowly, eyes wide, and looked at me like he'd just been told monsters were real. "Daddy, are you going to jail?" My throat closed. For a second, I couldn't get anything out. I looked at my sister, Emma. She was laughing with my mom by the cooler, red Solo cup in her hand. Aiden stood there waiting for his next line, like this was a bit they'd practiced. "Emma," I said, my voice sharper than I meant. "Control your kid or leave." She waved her hand, didn't even turn fully toward me. "He's just joking, Dean. Relax. Leo knows we're kidding." Leo clearly did not know we were kidding. His bottom lip wobbled. "But, you're gone a lot," he whispered. "Is it because did you do something bad?" I felt the world tilt. I fly 737s for a living. I wear a uniform, go through security every week, say good morning to TSA agents who know me by name. I spend more nights in hotel rooms than I want to, but it's work. It's how I pay the mortgage. It's how I've been helping this whole family for years. And now my son thought I was in jail. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. My hands were shaking, but my voice came out weirdly calm. "Get your stuff, buddy," I said to Leo. "We're going home." My mom called from the patio, "Dean, don't start. We just got the burgers done." Emma rolled her eyes. "Are you serious? Over a joke?" I didn't answer. I picked up Leo's backpack from under the picnic table, grabbed my keys, and walked us straight through the yard, past the kiddie pool, past the lawn chairs I'd bought them last summer. I never went back to a family event after that. I'm Dean, 38, commercial pilot based out of Dallas, living in Fort Worth in a small 3-bedroom with a rented piano I never have time to play. Divorced, co-parenting on paper, but Leo's with me more than half the week because my ex works nights as a nurse. I'm gone 3 to 4 days at a time. Red-eye to Seattle, turnarounds to Chicago, the occasional international hop if they're short. People here pilot and picture glamour. It's mostly hotels with weird carpets and coffee at 4 a.m. My family grew up blue-collar. My dad was a mechanic, my mom worked at a grocery store, my sister had her first kid at 21. Somehow, I ended up the one with the big job and the good money. And they treated me like a walking ATM with wings. It started small. "Can you spot us the electric bill this month, Dean? We're a little short. 200 here, 300 there." Then it turned into co-signing Emma's SUV when her husband's credit tanked, paying off my parents' $1,800 in back property taxes so they wouldn't lose the house, quietly sending $500 every month to a joint account I set up in my name and my mom's so they'd never have to worry about groceries again. I booked flights for them using my employee benefits. I used my hotel points so they could stay 2 nights in Vegas for their anniversary. I paid for Aiden's baseball camp last summer because he deserves opportunities like Leo gets. They loved my money. They tolerated my schedule. They mostly forgot my kid existed unless they needed him for a grandparent's photo. Leo has always been a soft kid. Polite, careful. The kind of kid who thanks flight attendants for their work and folds napkins before he throws them away. When he was 4, he drew a picture of my plane with little stick figure us in it and wrote, "Dad's house," over the clouds. My mom thought that was hilarious. "See," she said, "even he knows you basically live up there. Poor kid barely has a real dad on the ground." I laughed it off back then. I told myself they didn't mean it. That's what I kept doing. Laughing things off. Explaining things away. Letting the comments slide right over me and hoping they never landed on Leo. I was wrong. The jail thing didn't come out of nowhere. 2 months before that barbecue, Emma had asked me to do one last big favor. She and her husband wanted to redo their kitchen. White cabinets, stone counters, the whole Instagram remodel. She sent me the Pinterest board, the contractor estimate, the works. It's only like 20 grand. She said over the phone like she was asking me for a ride. We'll pay you back, obviously. You make more than all of us combined. I said no. Not because I couldn't technically afford it, but because I was already putting $300 a month into a $529 college fund for Aiden on top of Leo's. Because I just replaced my roof. Because I'm not a bank. Emma acted like I'd slapped her. Wow, she said. You know, you flying off all the time really went to your head. You think you're better than us now. A week later, my mom called with the calm voice she saves for when she's trying to guilt me. Your sister's hurt, she said. You know she counts on you. Family helps family, Dean. You're gone so much, at least you could support them this way. I held the phone away for a second, stared at the wall, then put it back. Mom, I support you, I said. I support her. I support Matt. I'm supporting everyone except myself half the time. She sighed like I was being dramatic. After that, little things shifted. Emma started joking in front of Leo about how he never sees his dad unless it's on FaceTime. My mom called him a little frequent flyer orphan. One day, when he fell asleep on their couch waiting for me to get off a delayed flight. They'd shush him when he got excited about planes. Tell him, okay, we get it, your dad has a job. Lots of dads have jobs. But calling me a criminal in front of him? That was new. Standing in that yard, Leo's eyes searching my face while Aiden smirked, I realized this wasn't just about them being careless. They were punishing me. For saying no once. For daring to keep my money and my boundaries. This wasn't a joke. It was a story they'd been telling about me. And my son had just heard the punchline. We were halfway home before Leo spoke again. The car was quiet. That kind of quiet where the air feels heavy. His paper plate was crumpled in his lap. There was ketchup on his shorts. Daddy. Yeah, bud. Did you ever go to jail before? Like, when you were gone on my birthday that time. That one hit like turbulence you don't see on the radar. I gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. No, Leo. I have never been to jail. Not once. When I'm gone, I'm at work. In hotels. In airports. Remember the pictures I sent you from the snow in Denver? He nodded, not quite convinced. But Aiden said Nana told him you only call when you get your one phone call. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I pulled into our driveway and parked, then turned around fully in my seat. Look at me, I said. He finally met my eyes. I'm not in trouble. I'm not in jail. I'm a pilot. That's why I'm gone. That's why I'm tired sometimes. That's why we have this house and your Lego sets and that dinosaur lamp you like. Okay. He nodded again, a little faster this time. Okay, he whispered. Can I sleep in your bed tonight? Yeah, buddy. You can. After I tucked him in, after he finally fell asleep with one hand wrapped around his toy airplane, I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. I thought of every Venmo payment, every Zelle transfer, every just until next month, Dean, that somehow became the default, not the exception. I thought of my son thinking his dad might be dialing him from a cell block. And I realized, I was the one who made this possible. I'd been paying for the privilege of being disrespected, paying for people who saw my kid as an extra, not as family. I walked downstairs, opened my laptop, and logged into my bank. For years, I'd had that one family account set up. Joint checking. My name, my mom's name. It started as a way to help them cover a surprise medical bill. I kept it open just in case. In case had turned into $500 auto transfer every first of the month. My card on their internet bill. My name on the backup payment for Emma's car loan. I told myself it was easier this way. Less awkward than saying no each time. Less messy than reminding them I had my own kid to raise. The balance wasn't huge that night. $2,300. Enough for a couple months of comfort if I walked away. I stared at the screen, hovered over the edit transfer button, and felt my heart pounding. This is it, I thought. You either keep letting them by your silence, or you stop. I clicked, cancel recurring transfer. The confirmation box popped up. Are you sure? This action will stop all future scheduled transfers. Yes. I hit confirm. Then I opened another tab, went into my credit card settings, and removed that card from their internet and phone bills. They would get their own emails next cycle and figure it out. Last thing, I called the bank about the joint account. Hi, this is Dean Walker, I said when the rep answered. I'd like to remove myself from a joint account that I opened with my mother and close it out. We went through the security questions. Last four of my social, address, all of that. She read the balance out loud. Once we close it, you'll receive a cashier's check by mail at your home address for the remaining funds, she said. Is that okay? Yeah, I said. That's perfect. She clicked a few keys. All right, Mr. Walker. The account is now closed. You'll see that reflected on your end in a few minutes. Thank you, I said. I hung up, stared at the dark TV. That was it. No dramatic speech. No warning text. No threat in the group chat. Just a door quietly closing on years of money I'd been bleeding out to people who couldn't be bothered to protect my son from a lie. It took 3 days for the storm to hit. First was my mom's text. Mom, Dean, did something happen with the account? The card declined at the store. Must be a glitch. Can you look? I put the phone face down on my desk and went back to filling out my next month's roster requests. 2 hours later, another text. Mom, Dean, the account says closed. This has to be a mistake. Call the bank. I didn't. Emma was next. Emma, what the hell, Dean? Mom's freaking out. Why is the money gone? We had stuff set up. You can't just do that. I could. I had. That evening, my phone started lighting up with calls. Mom, Emma, Dad. Some unknown number I knew was probably my dad on my mom's work phone since I'd sent his regular one to voicemail too many times. I ignored them all. Around 9 p.m., my ex called. You okay? She asked. Your mom just called me, of all people. I laughed once, no humor in it. Of course she did. She said you lost your temper and cut them off with no warning. My ex paused. What actually happened? I told her. The barbecue. The jail comment. Leo's question in the car. There was a long silence on the line. I'm going to be totally clear, she said finally. If you hadn't done something after that, I would have. Leo came home from your place and asked me if the police were going to take you away at the airport someday. He's been worrying about it. My chest tightened. You're not overreacting, Dean, she said. You're late. The next morning, the pounding on my door started. I was making pancakes. Leo was still in pajamas on the couch, watching cartoons. The knock was hard, insistent. The kind of knock that says, we think we're entitled to come in. I opened the door halfway. My mom, my dad, and Emma were on the porch. My dad crossed his arms like he was about to fire an employee. Emma had that squinty, offended look. What did you do? My mom snapped, skipping hello. We want to pay the mortgage and the account's gone. Everything's canceled. I closed an account that was in my name, I said. The money was mine. I stopped sending it. That's all. Emma scoffed. That's all. Do you hear yourself? We had autopay set up. You didn't even warn us. The internet got shut off. My dad jabbed a finger at me. This is childish, Dean. You don't punish your family because you're mad about a stupid joke. Behind me, Leo peeked around my leg. A stupid joke? I said quietly. I stepped out onto the porch, pulling the door mostly closed so Leo couldn't hear everything. You told my nephew I was in jail? I said to Emma. You told your kid enough of that garbage that he believed it. Leo asked me if I'd done something bad. He thought I was calling him from a cell. Emma rolled her eyes. Oh my God. It's not that deep. Aiden doesn't even remember saying it. You're the one making it an issue. My mom chimed in. We all know you're gone a lot. Kids exaggerate. We can talk about that later. But you can't just yank support like this. We rely on that money. Your sister's family. I held up a hand. There's your mistake, I said. You rely on it. Like it's owed to you. It's not. My dad's face flushed. We raised you. And I've been repaying that since I was 25, I said. I've covered your bills. Your emergencies. Your vacations. I paid for Aiden's braces. I set up a college fund in his name. All while you made my kid the punchline to a joke about his dad being a criminal. No one spoke for a second. My mom recovered first. So you're going to let your own parents struggle over a misunderstanding because of your pride? I shook my head. I'm not your backup bank, I said simply. And I'm not funding a family that tells my son his father belongs in jail. My dad's mouth opened like he was about to say something ugly. I didn't give him the chance. I have a flight tonight, I said. I'm not doing this on my porch. You are off my accounts. Permanently. If you want a relationship with me and Leo, it starts with an actual apology to him. Not me. Him. Until then, don't show up here unannounced again. I stepped back inside and closed the door. My mom's muffled voice came through the wood a second later. This isn't over, Dean. But it was. Not in the way she meant. The fallout was loud on their side. Group chat messages. Long paragraphs from Emma about how I was punishing her kids and taking food out of my nephew's mouth over a joke. My dad sent one masterpiece of an email about respect and blood and obligation. Funny from a man who'd never once taken a day off work when I was sick as a kid. One line stuck out. You're letting that job and all those people you fly around matter more than your own family. I stared at it, then closed the laptop. The people I fly around don't lie to my son about who I am, I thought. 2 weeks later, we had take your kid to work day. Most pilots I know hate those. Extra logistics, extra paperwork. I requested it this time. The airline had a whole program. Safety video, badges for the kids, a little mini tour of the plane at the gate. Leo had been counting sleeps for a month. The morning of, he woke up before my alarm. He was already dressed in the tiny pilot shirt my ex bought off Etsy, plastic wings pinned crookedly to his chest. Do I really get to sit where you sit? He asked while we drove to the airport. You get to visit, I said. Only Captain Leo sits there, and only when the plane's not moving. He grinned so hard, he almost dropped his granola bar. We went through the employee entrance. Security waved. A flight attendant I work with a lot, Carla, knelt down to Leo's height. So this is the famous kid, she said. We hear about you all the time. Your dad talks about you more than he talks about the weather, and he's obsessed with the weather. Leo went pink. On the jet bridge, I let him peek through the little window, watch the ground crew move bags. When we stepped into the cockpit, he stopped dead. Whoa. The panel lights were on, soft and green. Switches, screens, levers. I've seen it 10,000 times. Seeing it reflected in his eyes made it new. Can I touch it? He whispered. Some of it, I said. Nothing that moves the plane. I sat him in my seat for a minute. The first officer snapped a picture on my phone. Leo's feet didn't reach the pedals, but he sat up straight, serious, like he knew this was important. Someday, he said softly, eyes on the windshield, I'm going to fly with you for real. Not pretend. You will, I said. And for the record, this is where I am when I'm gone. Not jail. Here. He nodded, and this time I could see that he believed me all the way down. Later, when we got home, he asked if he could post the cockpit photo on his kid's messaging app, so everyone knows you're not in trouble. He typed the caption himself with his thumbs. My dad flies planes. He's not in jail. I didn't tell him to add that last part. That came from him. An hour after he posted it, my phone buzzed. A text from my cousin Mark, the only one in my extended family who hadn't stayed completely silent through all this. He'd seen the photo on the family Facebook group, apparently. Leo had insisted on posting it there too when my ex showed him how. Mark. Saw the pic. Proud of you, man. Also, for what it's worth, Aiden told my kid today that he lied about the jail thing cause mom said you were being a jerk. Sorry you and Leo got caught in their mess. Another buzz. A screenshot from Mark of the group chat he has with the other cousins. A couple of them had commented under Leo's cockpit photo, telling him how cool it was, how they wanted to come see Captain Leo fly someday. No one from my immediate family liked it. Of course, I closed my messages and went to the living room. Leo was on the floor building a plane out of Legos. He'd put my old model airplane on the coffee table, the one my dad gave me when I was 12. The frame next to it, the one with my parents' family Christmas photo, was turned face down. Hey, I said, you want to do something new this year? For Thanksgiving. Maybe we host. Just us, maybe some friends. Can Mark come? He asked. And Carla from the airplane? Yeah, I said. If they want to. He stuck the last piece onto his Lego plane and held it up, proud. Can Nana and Papa come? He asked after a second, more cautious. I thought about the closed account, the unanswered texts, the voicemail my mom left 2 nights ago where she said, we miss Leo but never once said, we're sorry. I thought about my kid in the backyard at that barbecue, staring at me like he might lose me to something he didn't understand. If they ever say sorry to you for what they told Aiden, I said carefully, and you feel okay seeing them, we can talk about it. But until then, we're okay with the people who know how to tell the truth. He seemed to think about that. Then he nodded. Okay, he said. Can we make airplane cookies? I laughed. We absolutely can. That November, we did. We pushed the couch back, set up a folding table I bought myself, not for anyone else's party. Carla came with a tray of empanadas. Mark showed up with his daughter and a store-bought pumpkin pie. We left 2 empty chairs at the table, not out of hope, but out of acknowledgement. Space where my parents and my sister could have been if they'd chosen differently. Leo passed around the airplane cookies on a plastic pilot wings tray. He told Carla all about the cockpit again. Mark listened like it was the most impressive thing he'd ever heard. When we went around the table to say one thing we were grateful for, Leo didn't say planes. He said, "I'm grateful my dad comes home to me, even when other people say dumb stuff." The room went quiet for a second. Then everyone smiled, and Mark raised his glass of sparkling cider. "To dads who fly and still show up," he said. We clinked our glasses. I looked at the empty chairs once more, then back at my son. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like landing after a long, rough flight, wheels on solid ground, brakes on, engines quiet. My family might never understand the boundary I set. They might keep telling their version of the story, where I'm dramatic and ungrateful and controlled by a job. But sitting at that table, Leo leaning against my arm, a photo of him in my cockpit framed on the shelf where my parents' picture used to sit, I finally understood something simple. I don't need to fund a family that doesn't know who I am. I can build one that does.